The three aliens in the kitchen had made a fatal error. They had cornered their prey, but they had also cornered themselves. Lisa didn't shoot them. Instead, she activated the kitchen's gas stove and threw Amy's camping lantern at it. The explosion wasn't huge, but it was enough. The aliens were thrown against the walls, stunned and injured. Rick and the two women finished them off with kitchen knives and a rolling pin. "Is everyone okay?" Lisa asked. "We're alive," Rick said. He was covered in alien blood and looked exhausted. "But I don't think we can take much more of this." Lisa checked her sensors. The good news was that human military ships were getting closer. The bad news was that more alien reinforcements were landing. "Amy, how are you holding up?" Lisa asked. Amy was sitting on the floor, breathing heavily. "I think the baby's coming," she said quietly. "What? Now?" Rick dropped his blood-covered knife and ran to his wife. "The stress?" Amy gasped. "I've been having contractions for the last 10 minutes. Lisa's training kicked in. She had battlefield medical knowledge, but delivering a baby while under attack was not something they had covered in school. "We need to get you somewhere safe," she said. But there was nowhere safe. Aliens were still moving through the neighborhood. The house was damaged and barely defensible, and Amy couldn't be moved safely. "Upstairs," Lisa decided. "The master bedroom. We can barricade it and make a stand there." They carried Amy upstairs while Lisa's armor scanned for threats. The bedroom had only one entrance and windows they could watch. It was the most defensible position in the house. Mrs. Patterson surprised everyone by taking charge of the delivery. "I was a nurse before I became a librarian," she explained. 40 years ago, but you don't forget." Lisa set up a perimeter defense, while Mrs. Patterson helped Amy. Rick held his wife's hand and tried not to panic. The other women watched the windows and doors. "Contact," Amy announced through the baby monitor network. She was still monitoring the security cameras. "Big group coming this way. Maybe 20 aliens." Lisa looked at her weapon. 3 shots left. Her armor was damaged and running low on power. The humans had used up most of their improvised weapons. 20. Aliens against 6 exhausted humans and a woman in labor. "We can't fight them all," Rick said. "No," Lisa agreed. "But we don't have to." She was looking at something on her long-range sensors. The human fleet was finally close enough to provide support. "Everyone stay quiet," she whispered. "I'm going to try something." Lisa activated her armor's communication system and sent a tight beam transmission to the approaching human ships. She uploaded the exact coordinates of every alien position in the neighborhood, along with tactical data about their weaknesses. "This is Lieutenant Commander Lisa Brooks," she broadcast, requesting immediate fire support on my position. "Danger close! We have civilians in the target area." The response came back immediately. "Brooks, this is Captain Miller on the UES Dakota. We see your position. Fire support incoming in 30 seconds. Take cover." Lisa had never been so happy to hear another human voice. "Everyone get down," she shouted. "Cover your ears." 20 seconds later, the sky lit up with energy beams from orbit. The human fleet was targeting every alien position Lisa had identified, using precision strikes to avoid hitting civilian houses. The aliens in the street were destroyed instantly. The larger ships trying to land were forced to retreat or be shot. "Down! The aliens are pulling back," Amy reported from her camera feeds. "They're running." But Lisa was focused on something else. Mrs. Patterson was holding a tiny crying baby. "It's a girl," Mrs. Patterson announced with tears in her eyes. "A beautiful, healthy baby girl." Amy was exhausted but smiling. Rick was crying and laughing at the same time. The baby had been born in the middle of an alien invasion, delivered by a retired librarian while her mother fought off hostile forces. "What are you going to name her?" Lisa asked. Amy looked at Lisa, still wearing her damaged tactical armor, still holding her weapon, still ready to fight if needed. "Lisa," Amy said. "Her name is Lisa." 3 hours later, human Marines landed in New Haven. The alien invasion had been stopped, but the cost was high. Many families had been taken or killed before Lisa's group had shown the way to fight back. But the recordings from Lisa's armor became something special. Every military academy would study them. The baby shower defense became a textbook example of how ordinary humans could become extraordinary when they had to protect their families. Lisa received medals and commendations, but the real reward came 6 months later when she visited Amy. Again. Little Lisa was a healthy, happy baby who laughed when her namesake held her. Amy's house had been repaired, and the neighborhood looked normal again. "Do you still wear the armor everywhere?" Amy asked. Lisa looked out the window at the peaceful street. Children were playing in yards while their parents worked in gardens. Everything looked safe and normal. "Not everywhere," she said, "but I keep it ready." Because Lisa Brooks had learned something important that day. Being prepared wasn't about expecting the worst to happen. It was about being ready to protect the people who mattered most when the unexpected came. And sometimes the most important battles weren't fought in space or on distant planets. Sometimes they were fought in suburban backyards by ordinary people who discovered they were capable of extraordinary things. A year later, Lisa attended another baby shower. This one was for her own child, and she wore a pretty sundress that Amy had picked out for her. But her tactical armor was neatly folded in the car just in case, because you never knew when someone might need protecting, and humans were always at their best when they were protecting someone they loved. The alien survivors who made it back to their empire told stories about the humans they had encountered. Not the human military, which they had expected to be dangerous, but the human civilians who had turned baby showers into battlefields and made weapons out of kitchen supplies. The Zephyrian Empire decided that maybe Earth wasn't such an easy target after all, and in a suburban house in New Haven, a little girl named Lisa took her first steps while her parents watched proudly. She was growing up in a universe that was dangerous and unpredictable, but she was also growing up human. And that meant she would always have the strength to fight back when it mattered most. Lisa looked out at the neighborhood through her armor's enhanced vision. Houses were burning. Alien soldiers moved through the streets in organized groups. Families were being dragged from their homes and loaded into strange transport pods. "We can't save everyone," Rick said quietly. "There are too many of them." "We don't have to save everyone," Lisa replied. "We just have to save enough people to make a difference." She turned to the group. Amy was holding her camping lantern. Mrs. Patterson had found a heavy flashlight. The other women had gathered kitchen knives and whatever else they could find as weapons. "Listen carefully," Lisa said. "The aliens think humans are weak because we don't have natural armor or claws. They're wrong. Humans are dangerous because we think differently than they do." Amy looked confused. "What do you mean?" "They plan everything in advance. They follow patterns. They expect us to run or hide or fight back the same way every time." Lisa activated her armor's tactical display. "But humans don't fight fair. We cheat. We use tricks. We turn everything into a weapon." She pointed to a house 3 doors down. "The Johnson family is trapped in there. 6 aliens have them surrounded. The aliens are being careful, staying in formation, watching all the exits." "So how do we help them?" Rick asked. "We don't attack the aliens," Lisa said. "We attack their expectations." Lisa's plan was simple, but would require perfect timing. She had Amy monitor the alien positions using hijacked security cameras from other houses. Mrs. Patterson would coordinate timing using her phone's stopwatch. Rick and the other women would handle the diversions. "Remember," Lisa told them, "aliens think like soldiers. They expect military tactics, so we're going to use civilian tactics instead." The group split up. Amy stayed in the house, watching the cameras and communicating through baby monitors that Lisa had turned into a radio network. The others moved through backyards, staying low and quiet. Lisa approached the Johnson house from an angle the aliens weren't watching. Not through the front yard or backyard, but through the side where the garbage cans were stored. At exactly 3:47 p.m., according to Mrs. Patterson's countdown, Rick turned on every sprinkler system on the block. The aliens looked around, confused by the sudden water everywhere. At 3:48, Amy triggered car alarms throughout the neighborhood. The aliens turned toward the noise, breaking their careful formation. At 3:49, Lisa emerged from behind the garbage cans and shot the closest alien in the back. But that wasn't the real attack. While the aliens focused on Lisa, Mrs. Patterson and two other women came out of the storm drain behind them. They weren't trying to fight the aliens directly. Instead, they attacked the aliens' equipment. The creatures carried strange devices that looked like communication gear. Mrs. Patterson, who had been a librarian for 40 years, smashed them with her heavy flashlight. "Now!" Lisa shouted. The Johnson family ran out of their house while the aliens were confused and trying to re-establish communication with their commanders. Mr. Johnson carried his baby daughter while Mrs. Johnson led their two young sons. "This way," Lisa called, providing covering fire as the family escaped. But the aliens were learning. They started adapting to human tactics faster than Lisa had expected. "They're calling for backup," Amy's voice came through the baby monitor. "I can see more pods incoming." Lisa looked at her ammunition levels. She had enough energy for maybe 20 more shots. After that, she would have to rely on her armor's physical strength and the weapons the civilians had made. Everyone back. "To the house," she ordered. "We're going to make our stand there." The expanded group reached Amy's house just as the second wave of aliens arrived. But this time, the creatures were different. Bigger, with thicker armor. They had learned from the mistakes of the first group. "They're not falling for the same tricks," Rick observed. "The lights and noise aren't affecting these ones as much." Lisa nodded. "Then we use different tricks." She had been studying the aliens' behavior through her armor's recording systems. They had weaknesses, but you had to look carefully to find them. "They breathe through small holes behind their necks," she explained. "And they can't see well in certain types of light. Not bright light, but red light. It confuses their vision." Amy found red Christmas lights in the attic. Lisa rigged them to the house's electrical system. When the aliens approached, she flooded the area with red light. The creatures slowed down, turning their heads back and forth like they were lost. "Now we hit their breathing holes," Lisa said. The women had made blowguns out of PVC pipe from Rick's garage. Their ammunition was sewing needles dipped in household chemicals. Not enough to kill the aliens, but enough to make breathing difficult. Mrs. Patterson turned out to be an excellent shot. "I played darts for 50 years, she explained as her needle hit an alien's breathing hole perfectly. The creature stumbled and fell, gasping for air, but more aliens kept coming. And Lisa's group was running out of tricks. "We can't hold them off much longer," Rick said. He was bleeding from a cut on his forehead, but still fighting. Lisa checked her long-range sensors again. The alien ships in orbit were preparing to land more troops. Soon there would be hundreds of creatures in the neighborhood. But she also detected something else. Human military ships approaching from the outer system. Her recordings and transmissions had reached the right people. Help was coming. "We just need to hold out a little longer," she told the group. "How much longer?" Amy asked. She was exhausted, and her pregnancy was making the fighting even harder for her. 20 minutes, Lisa lied. It would probably be at least an hour before human forces could reach them. An alien broke through the barricaded front door. Lisa met it in the hallway, using her armor's strength to wrestle with the creature. Its claws scraped against her chest plate, but couldn't penetrate. Behind her, she could hear the others fighting more aliens that had broken in through the windows. Amy was using her camping lantern like a club. Mrs. Patterson was shouting instructions like a drill sergeant. "Rick, left side! Amy, watch the stairs!" For a moment, Lisa felt proud. These were ordinary people who had never been in combat before. But they were fighting like veterans. That's what humans did when their families were threatened. They became more than they had ever been before. The alien Lisa was fighting made a mistake. It tried to bite her with mandibles designed for softer prey. But Lisa's armor was harder than anything on the alien's homeworld. She grabbed the creature's head and twisted. The neck made a sound like breaking wood. "Kitchen!" Amy shouted. "More coming through the kitchen!" Lisa ran toward the sound of fighting. She found Rick and two other women backed against the refrigerator, facing 3 aliens. But as she raised her weapon, Lisa realized something. The aliens had made a mistake of their own. They had trapped themselves in a small room with a bunch of humans who had nothing left to lose. And humans were most dangerous when they had nothing left to lose. Lisa's first shot hit the dark-haired alien in what used to be its chest. The energy bolt burned through its gray-green skin, but the creature didn't fall. It just looked down at the wound and hissed. "Get inside," Lisa shouted to the women behind her. "Lock the doors and stay away from windows." The 3 aliens spread out, trying to surround her. Lisa's armor tracked their movements and showed her the best defensive positions. She backed toward the house, keeping all 3 enemies in her sight. Amy was pulling the other women inside. "Lisa, come on!" "Not yet." Lisa fired again, this time at the tall blonde alien. The shot hit its shoulder and spun it around, but it kept coming. More pods were hitting the ground around the neighborhood. Lisa could hear explosions and screaming from other houses. The invasion was happening everywhere at once. She reached the back door and dove inside just as the redhead alien lunged at her. Its claws scraped against her armor, leaving deep scratches in the metal. "Everyone get to the center of the house," Lisa ordered. "Away from walls and windows." The women huddled in the living room. Amy was crying, one hand on her pregnant belly. An older woman with gray hair was shaking so badly she could barely stand. "What are those things?" someone asked. "Aliens," Lisa said. She was checking her weapon's power levels and scanning the house's defenses. "They've been planning this invasion. Those 3 were spies gathering information." Rick, Amy's husband, came running down the stairs. He was holding a baseball bat. "What's happening out there?" "We're under attack," Lisa said. "Do you have any weapons in the house?" "Just this bat and some kitchen knives." Lisa nodded. It wasn't much, but humans had fought with worse before. Something crashed against the front door. Then again. The aliens were trying to break in. "Rick, I need you to barricade that door," Lisa said. "Use furniture, anything heavy. Amy, does this house have a smart home system?" "Yes. Why?" "I can connect to it with my armor. Turn your lights, sprinklers, everything into weapons." Lisa's armor interfaced with the house's computer system. Suddenly, she could control every electronic device in the building. The refrigerator, the microwave, the baby monitors Amy had already set up. The front door exploded inward. The three aliens pushed through the broken wood, their insect eyes scanning the room. Lisa opened fire, but this time she also triggered every light in the house to strobe at maximum brightness. The aliens recoiled, covering their sensitive eyes. The bright lights hurt them, Lisa shouted. Everyone grab flashlights, phone lights, anything. The women scattered, looking for light sources. Amy grabbed a powerful camping lantern from the closet. The older woman found a laser pointer in her purse, but the aliens were adapting quickly. They split up, moving through the house in different directions. Lisa couldn't watch all of them at once. One of them came around the corner toward Amy. Lisa was across the room fighting the other two. She couldn't get there in time, but Rick could. Amy's husband swung his baseball bat with all his strength, hitting the alien in the side of its insect head. The creature stumbled but didn't fall. "Amy, run!" Rick yelled. The alien's claws raked across Rick's chest, tearing his shirt and leaving bloody scratches. But Rick held on to his bat and swung again. Lisa broke away from the other two aliens and charged toward Rick and Amy. Her armor's strength boosters activated, making her faster and stronger. She slammed into the alien attacking Rick, driving it back against the wall. "Are you okay?" she asked Rick. "I'll live," he said, looking at his scratches. "But we can't keep this up forever." Lisa knew he was right. More aliens would be coming soon. The house wasn't built to be a fortress. They needed better defenses. "Everyone listen to me," she announced. "We're going to turn this house into a trap." She started giving orders like a military commander. The women didn't argue. They could see that Lisa knew what she was doing. "Amy, I need you to monitor all the baby cameras. They'll be our early warning system. Rick, help me move furniture to block the windows. Mrs. Lisa looked at the older woman. "Patterson," the woman said. "Mrs. Patterson, you're in charge of communications. Use your phone to call the police, the military, anyone who will listen. Tell them New Haven is under attack." Lisa's armor was recording everything and transmitting to military command. But civilian reports would help too. "What about us?" asked the woman with short blonde hair. "You're going to help me build weapons," Lisa said. "Humans are good at making dangerous things out of safe things. We're going to show these aliens what that means." Lisa accessed the house's smart systems again. She turned up the water pressure in all the pipes until they were ready to burst. She overloaded the microwave until it was producing dangerous radiation levels. She connected all the smoke detectors to create a deafening alarm system. "Rick, do you have any cleaning supplies?" "Under the kitchen sink. Why?" "Bleach and ammonia make poison gas when mixed." "We're going to need gas masks, though." Lisa's armor could protect her, but the others would need something. Amy found swimming goggles and wet towels in the pool supplies. It wasn't perfect protection, but it was better than nothing. Outside, more alien pods were landing. Lisa could see through the baby monitors that creatures were moving through the neighborhood, going house to house. Most of the families had no way to fight back. But Lisa's group was ready for them. "Here they come," Amy said, watching the camera feeds. 6 of them coming up the front walkway." "Perfect," Lisa said. She activated the sprinkler system, but instead of water, the sprinklers shot out the poison gas mixture Lisa had created. The aliens in the front yard stumbled and choked, their breathing becoming labored. "Now the lights," Lisa said. Every outdoor light on the house blazed at full power, all focused on the poisoned aliens. They fell to their knees, covering their eyes and gasping. And now the sound, Lisa finished. The smoke detectors, the house alarm, and every speaker in the smart home system activated at once, creating a wall of noise so loud it shattered windows. The aliens collapsed. "It's working!" Amy shouted. "We're winning!" But Lisa was looking at her long-range sensors. More ships were coming, bigger ships, and they would be ready for the tricks that had worked on the first wave. "This was just the beginning," she said. "We need to get the other families and work together. One house can't hold them all off." She looked at the group of civilian women who had become her soldiers. They were scared, but determined. They had discovered something about themselves in the last hour. They had discovered they could fight back. "Are you ready to take this fight to them?" Lisa asked. Amy lifted her camping lantern like a weapon. "Let's go save our neighbors." Lisa walked up to Amy's front door wearing full tactical armor. Her boots made soft sounds on the wooden porch. She could hear laughter and music from inside the house. She knocked on the door. Amy opened it and her mouth fell open. "Lisa! Oh my God, you're wearing armor." "Hi, Amy," Lisa said. She felt awkward already. "Congratulations on the baby." Amy stared at her for a few more seconds, then started laughing. "Only you would wear military gear to a baby shower. Come in. Come in. Everyone's in the backyard." Lisa followed Amy through the house. The walls were covered with photos of Amy and her husband, Rick. Happy pictures of vacations and holidays. Normal life pictures. "Is everything okay?" Amy asked quietly. "I mean, are you expecting trouble or something?" "No," Lisa said. I wanted to be prepared." Amy looked confused but smiled anyway. "Well, you're definitely prepared for something. Come meet everyone." They walked out to the backyard. About 20 women were sitting around tables decorated with baby things. They all turned to look when Lisa walked out in her armor. The talking stopped. "Everyone, this is Lisa Brooks, my college roommate," Amy said. "She's in the military." "We can see that," said a woman with short blonde hair. She was wearing a flowered dress and holding a cup of pink punch. "Are you expecting a war to break out?" Some of the women laughed. Lisa felt her face get hot. "Lisa just got back from deployment," Amy said quickly. "She's probably still adjusting to civilian life. Right, Lisa?" "Right," Lisa said. She sat down. At an empty chair. The armor made sitting uncomfortable, but she had worn it in worse places. "What kind of deployment?" asked another woman. This one had dark hair and was very thin. Something about her felt wrong to Lisa, but she couldn't figure. "Out what?" "Patrol duty in the Outer Rim," Lisa said. "Hunting pirates." "How exciting," the dark-haired woman said. "Did you see much action?" Lisa studied the woman's face. Her question seemed normal, but her eyes were too interested, too focused. "Some," Lisa said carefully. "Lisa doesn't like to talk about work." Amy said, "Let's play some games. Who wants to guess the baby's weight?" The party continued around Lisa. She tried to join in, but everything felt wrong. The games were silly. The conversations were about things she didn't understand. Baby food and diaper brands and nursery colors, but she kept watching the 3 women who felt wrong to her. The dark-haired one, a redhead with pale skin, and a blonde who was too tall. They asked too many questions about military things. They wanted to know about ship schedules and patrol routes and how many soldiers were stationed on Earth. Normal people didn't ask those questions. Lisa's armor systems were running constant scans. The women looked human on her sensors, but something was still bothering her. Their body temperatures were slightly low. Their heart rates were too steady. And they all had the same small scar behind their left ears. Lisa, you're being very quiet, Amy said. Are you having fun? Lisa looked at her old friend. Amy was glowing with happiness. Her belly was round with the baby that would be born next month. She deserved this moment of joy and celebration. I'm having a great time, Lisa lied. This is really nice. Amy smiled and went back to opening presents. Lisa watched the crowd and tried to figure out what was making her so nervous. Then she saw it. A ship in the sky. It was far away, just a small dot against the blue. But Lisa's armor enhanced her vision and she could see it clearly. It wasn't a human ship. The shape was all wrong, too smooth, too organic looking. She activated her long-range scanners. The ship was definitely not human technology. And it wasn't alone. Her sensors detected at least a dozen more ships, all moving toward New Haven. Lisa's blood went cold. She had been right to wear the armor. Amy, she said quietly, we need to get everyone inside right now. What? Why? Amy was holding up a tiny pink dress. Look at this cute outfit. Amy, listen to me. Lisa stood up, her armor systems coming fully online. There are ships in the sky, not human ships. We need to get everyone inside and call for help. The dark-haired woman laughed. Ships? I don't see any ships. Lisa looked directly at her. You wouldn't, would you? The woman's smile disappeared. Her face went blank and cold. More ships appeared in the sky. They were getting closer, and Lisa could see their true size now. Massive vessels that looked like they were grown rather than built. Organic curves and surfaces that pulsed with strange light. The other party guests were starting to notice. Someone screamed. What are those things? Amy asked. Her voice was shaking. I don't know, Lisa said. But we need to get inside now. The three suspicious women stood up at the same time. Their movements were too coordinated, too perfect. Lisa's armor immediately tagged them as threats. There's no need to panic, the dark-haired woman said. Her voice sounded different now, less human. Everything will be fine. Lisa drew her sidearm. Everyone get behind me! Now! The women in pretty dresses screamed and ran toward the house, but the three suspicious women didn't move. They just stood there, smiling cold smiles. You cannot stop what is coming, the redhead said. Your species is weak. You will be easily conquered. The tall blonde began to change. Her skin rippled and shifted. Her human disguise melted away like wax, revealing something else underneath. Something with too many joints and eyes that reflected light like mirrors. The other two were changing, too. Their human faces disappeared, replaced by insect-like features. Their bodies stretched and grew, becoming tall and angular. Their skin turned gray-green and hard-looking. Cypherians, Lisa whispered. She had read about them in intelligence reports, but no one had ever seen them on Earth before. The alien that had looked like the dark-haired woman spoke again. Its voice was like grinding metal now. We have been watching your species, learning your weaknesses. Today, we begin the harvest. More ships appeared in the sky, dozens of them. They were huge, blocking out the sun. Strange pods began dropping from the ships, falling toward the neighborhood like deadly rain. Lisa's armor systems were screaming warnings. Multiple threats detected. Hostile forces incoming. Recommend immediate evacuation. She looked back at the house. Amy and the other women were pressed against the windows, staring in terror at the sky. They were completely helpless. None of them had any training or weapons or armor. They were going to die unless Lisa could protect them. The three aliens moved toward her with fluid, inhuman grace. They were faster than they looked and stronger than any human. But Lisa Brooks had not survived 18 months of combat by being weak. She raised her weapon and started shooting. Lisa Brooks stared at the pink invitation in her hands. The paper felt strange after 18 months of handling metal and plastic on the patrol ship. Everything about civilian life felt strange now. "You're going to Amy's baby shower, Captain?" Jake Murphy asked from across the mess hall. He was eating breakfast like a normal person, not checking the corners of the room for threats every few seconds. "Yes," Lisa said. She folded the invitation carefully and put it in her pocket. "Amy was my college roommate. We promised to stay in touch." Jake laughed. "Good luck with that. I went to my cousin's wedding last year. Felt like I was on an alien planet." Lisa nodded. She knew what he meant. After hunting pirates in the Outer Rim for so long, Earth seemed too quiet, too safe, too soft. The baby shower was this Saturday. Lisa had 3 days to prepare. She tried to remember what normal women wore to these things. Dresses, probably. Flowers in their hair. High heels that would break if you had to run. Danny, White, sat down at their table with his food tray. "What's got you looking so serious, Brooks?" "Baby shower," Jake said before Lisa could answer. "Our Lisa is going back to civilian life for a weekend." "That sounds nice," Danny said. "When's the last time you did something normal?" Lisa thought about it. Really normal? Not military normal, where you cleaned your weapons and checked security reports. Actually normal. "I don't remember," she said. The next morning, Lisa went shopping. The store was full of bright colors and soft fabrics. Everything seemed designed to be pretty rather than useful. She picked up a yellow dress and held it against herself in the mirror. It looked wrong. She looked wrong. "Can I help you?" a store clerk asked. The woman was young and smiled too much. "I need something for a baby shower," Lisa said. "Oh, how wonderful. Is it your first?" "No, it's my friend's shower. I've never been to one." The clerk's smile got bigger. "Well, you'll want something comfortable and cheerful. Maybe this floral print?" Lisa looked at the dress the clerk was holding. It had tiny flowers all over it. The fabric looked thin. If someone grabbed it, it would tear. If you had to run, it would get caught on things. "Do you have anything more practical?" Lisa asked. The clerk looked confused. "Practical?" "Something that won't tear easily. Something I can move in." "Oh, you must be very active. Let me show you our athletic wear section." Lisa followed the beat clerk to a different part of the store. The clothes here were better. Stronger fabric, better stitching. But they were all bright colors with logos and words printed on them. Nothing that would help you blend into shadows if you needed to. She bought a simple black dress that felt sturdy and shoes she could run in if necessary. The clerk looked disappointed, but Lisa felt better. That night, she dreamed about the patrol ship. In the dream, alarms were going off, but no one else could hear them. She woke up checking her sidearm that wasn't there. Friday came too fast. Lisa packed her bag for the weekend. She would stay at Amy's house Friday night and help set up for the shower on Saturday. It would be fun, Amy had said, just like old times. Lisa stared at her closet. The black dress hung next to her uniforms and tactical gear, next to her dress blues and her combat armor. She thought about the last time she had seen Amy. It was 2 years ago, right before Lisa shipped out. They had gone to lunch at a cafe near the spaceport. Amy was just starting to show her pregnancy then. She was so excited about becoming a mother. Promise me you'll come to the baby shower, Amy had said. I know you'll be off fighting bad guys, but promise me you'll try. I promise, Lisa had said. Now she was keeping that promise. But something felt wrong. Lisa couldn't shake the feeling that she was missing something important. She pulled up the intelligence reports on her tablet. Nothing unusual. No threats to Earth. No pirate activity in the inner systems. The rim territories were quiet. Too quiet, maybe, but that was probably just her being paranoid. Lisa set her alarm and tried to sleep, but her mind kept working. Why did everything feel so wrong? Why did her instincts keep telling her to be ready for trouble? She got up and checked her gear. Her tactical armor was clean and ready, all systems working, weapons charged, medical, supplies stocked. She always kept her gear ready, even on leave. Old habits. What if she wore the armor to the baby shower? The thought was crazy. You didn't wear military gear to civilian parties. People would think she had lost her mind. Amy would be embarrassed. The other guests would stare, but what if something happened? What if her instincts were right and trouble was coming? Lisa looked at the black dress again. Pretty and normal and completely useless if things went bad. She looked at her tactical armor. Ugly and obvious and capable of keeping her alive in almost any situation. The smart choice was the dress. The safe choice socially. The choice that would let her fit in and be normal for one weekend. But Lisa Brooks had not stayed alive for 18 months in pirate territory by making the safe choice. She packed the tactical armor. Saturday morning, Lisa drove to Amy's house in the suburbs of New Haven. The neighborhood was perfect. Clean streets, nice houses, green lawns. Children played in yards while their parents worked in gardens. Everything was peaceful and safe. Too safe, Lisa thought. This was exactly the kind of place that never expected trouble. Amy's house was decorated, with pink and blue balloons. Cars were already parked in the driveway and along the street. Lisa could hear voices and laughter from the backyard. She sat in her car for a moment, looking at the house. Through the windows, she could see women in pretty dresses moving around, setting up tables and hanging decorations. They looked so normal, so innocent. Lisa opened her gear bag and pulled out her tactical armor. The ceramic plates were heavy in her hands. The electronics hummed softly as they powered up. Her heads-up display flickered to life, showing her heart, rate, environmental data, and threat assessment protocols. No threats detected, the system reported. All clear. But Lisa's instincts were screaming that something was wrong. She put on the armor.